Got it?
Yes.
All right. Are we live?
Hi, everyone. Today we are having a live stream with Psychic for Lovers, known as Pastor Moses. She is a spiritual pastor. She is a psychic, tarot card reader, clairvoyant, claircognizant, intuitive, and dream interpreter. She is a motivational speaker, spiritual counselor, and life coach with over 30 plus years of experience. She's worked as a psychic online with keen live advice and 5-star psychic advice. Her website is www.psychicforlovers.com. She does private readings as well. Today we are going to be speaking about boundaries. Our question is, what are boundaries? A boundary is a limit you set for yourself within a relationship and one should not cross. What are personal boundaries in a relationship? When we are in love, we allow the person we love to overstep our boundaries. A few examples of boundaries that Pastor Moses will be speaking about is physical abuse, unreliable and not being trustworthy, and being disrespectful. Would you mind starting, please?
Sure. So when we all should have boundaries. That's when we don't let someone, how would I say, we won't let someone do something to us that we feel it limits us or limits the relationship. So we all have boundaries. So one of the boundaries that everybody should really have is physical abuse. That means that if your partner is beating on you, hurting you, threatening you with a gun, or hitting you over the head with a gun, physical abuse can harm your body physically. So those should be a boundary that you should really consider not allowing your partner to overstep. So we all should have boundaries and a limit where when we say that this is it for this relationship, we're not going to go any further with this relationship because they crossed our boundaries. But I know when we're in love, we allow a little bit more, we're more leeway with our boundaries. We have a little bit more leeway with our boundaries. So physical abuse is one that you should never allow your partner to do, to hurt you physically. The other boundary is like being unreliable and not being trustworthy. So they don't keep their word. So if they say, hey, I'm coming over tonight, and then they don't show up or they don't call, or they say, let's get dressed, we're going to go out to dinner, and they don't call and they don't show up. They say, oh, we're going to go, we're going to do something, or I'll be there to help you with something, and they don't show up and they don't call. And then when you do speak to them, they don't have a real good excuse. So if someone is doing that to you, I would say more than one time, maybe 2 times tops. With me, after 2 times, that's it, So if they're doing that to you, you should have a boundary and say, listen, if you cross this, I can no longer continue having a relationship with you. So also another one is disrespect. So we should have a boundary where we don't let our partners disrespect us, call us out of our names, call it a B word, or, just kind of make us feel like we're less than, saying we're stupid or we don't know nothing, or, they devalue who you are and they disrespect you in front of people, or even just in front of you and him or her. It's disrespectful, and it hurts your self-esteem. So we all should have boundaries where we don't let our partners disrespect us, because emotionally it's emotional abuse. Then the other boundary is cheating. We shouldn't allow our partners to get away with cheating. I mean, if you do and you allow it one time, then you might have a discussion finding out what happened or what occurred that this happened, and make a promise to forgive each other and try it again and try the relationship again. That's if you choose to. But if you don't choose to, then that's your choice. But if you choose to, make sure that person is making a true commitment, and that person is not, that person is making a true commitment, and that person is not overstepping their boundaries. So cheating, if we allow that person to cheat, then they're going to keep doing it. And again, you have to protect yourself. You don't know if they have sexually transmitted diseases out there. Your health is your health is an issue as well. So like I said, we all have boundaries. So these are the first 4 boundaries that I talked about.
Thank you for that. That was really great information. So next, Pastor Moses will be going into the energy of the upcoming week. She will be starting off with Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Would you mind starting off with Saturday for now, please?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna see what is the energy around Saturday. Which is today. So the energy around Saturday is a female energy. And I feel like this female energy is in a relationship and she's really feeling positive about the relationship. It's going pretty well. He's treating her fair. He or she is treating her fair. And they both are really balanced in this relationship. So I feel really positive energy around female energy. She might be mature, might have a child, but I feel like she's really feeling that she's in a positive, positive relationship. And she thinks about the person a lot. So now I'm going to do Monday. I'm sorry, Sunday, right? Today's Saturday. Sunday, right? Sunday.
Yes, Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, Sunday feels like an energy where there's a relationship, a serious relationship, a marriage, living together. And I feel like they're not sure about the relationship. They're having problems. They've been questioning if they want to still stay together. They're constantly worried about if this relationship is going to work. So I feel like the energy around Sunday is a real committed relationship and they're having problems, even financially in this relationship. So they're second guessing if they want to stay in a relationship. Okay, so the energy around Monday. Okay. Okay. So the energy around Monday is similar to the one that around Sunday, which I feel like there's a questioning a serious relationship, living together or marriage, and they're not sure if they want to stay. So it feels like that energy is still strong there, back and forth with this, like, should they stay or not? Because they're not able to communicate, they're not able to get along. So they're kind of questioning that relationship.
Thank you for that. That was very insightful.
You're welcome.
Next, Pastor Moses will be answering some questions about Elon Musk. Elon Musk recently backed out of a deal of $44 million because Twitter did not provide information pertaining to false and spam accounts. So now we will start off. Did Elon Musk really want to go through with the Twitter deal?
Okay, let's find out. Okay. It feels like Elon Musk did want to go through with it. He was serious about it. He's looking at long term in terms of leaving a legacy for his family. So I feel like, yes, he did want to go through with the deal, but now he had questioned the deal. He's questioning the integrity of Twitter. He's questioning if this deal is a good deal because it feels like he doesn't feel like everything is revealed to him about this deal. So yes, he did want to go through with this deal, but now he's thinking he needs to really step back, take his time and reevaluate.
That was interesting. Thank you for that. So my next question for you was, what is Twitter hiding? Why was the information about the spam accounts and the false accounts not provided?
Okay. Yeah, Twitter is definitely hiding something. I feel like it's almost like they're hiding how much money they really is making, or how profitable. I would say profitable. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
how profitable Twitter is. They're kind of like hiding that. They're worried that if the truth is really out there, that it wouldn't be as profitable, or showing as profitable. So there really is hiding some of the stuff, and I do think it's something to do with accounts that are not really true accounts, or they're like fake accounts, or somebody made, people made a lot more accounts than than there really is. So I do think that Twitter is hiding that they know that some of these that they don't really have. Let's say, for instance, if they say they have 100 million, that they really probably have maybe 70 million or 60 million. You know what I mean? So
Uh-huh.
it's not as profitable. So they're hiding that because they want a certain amount of money to sell it for a certain amount of money.
Okay, that was great. So my next question is, will Elon Musk pay the $1 million penalty for backing out of the deal?
Okay. Right now, I feel like he's in potential of losing money. Yeah, I want to say that he might actually have to pay a penalty. Um, is it the whole $1 billion? I'm not sure about that, but it feels like he might have to do a penalty because he backed out of the deal. Even though, like he said, they wasn't really being authentic, he might have wanted to see that before he signed a contract, because I kind of feel like he might have to pay a penalty. Yes.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So next, we're going to go back into personal boundaries. The topics we have right now is not making you a priority, not taking accountability, not getting your needs met, and addictions.
Okay. So not making you a priority. So everybody want to feel special in a relationship. And if you're in a relationship and your partner is not making you feel special, then it's going to be hard for you to really enjoy that relationship, feel good about that relationship. So when your partner is like making their family a priority, or making their friends a priority, and when I say make your family, don't get me wrong, your family's important, but if everything your family stays and you jump to, and even if you and him have a commitment, or you and him or her have a commitment, and they back out the commitment because your family just wants you to, go to the store, or go with them somewhere, or do something with them when you already had a commitment with them and they're not making you a priority, then that can be very hurtful. That can make you feel like you're not loved, you're not wanted. If your partner friends, they call him up or her up, and your partner was spending quality time with you, and they jump up and just run with them, or you make plans, or you were thinking about spending time, and then they all of a sudden just like, oh, I'm not available, I'm never available for you, because they want to do things with their friends or their family, then that's very hurtful for the individual. So you might want to have boundaries and not allow yourself, not allow them to overstep those boundaries if this is something that is a constant thing, because now you're not important to them. They put you on a level of hierarchy, really low hierarchy, and that means that you're not that high anymore. You're very low. So then that when your partner doesn't make you a priority, it doesn't make you feel good, and it hurts your self-esteem. The next one is not taking accountability. So when your partner is not taking accountability for his or her action, that could be a problem, because if they do something that you expect them to own up to it or apologize for it, and they don't want to do that, or they don't feel like they did anything wrong, or worse than that, they want to blame you. They want to turn it around and make it sound like you're the one who did something wrong, or you're the cause of them to do this. When your partner does that, then that can be something that you need to consider, because this person will never take responsibility for his action or her action, and you are always going to be the one to blame for something that they did. An example, if a person is cheating and he's going to say, well, your partner, and you're female and your partner is cheating. And he said, well, you made me cheat, or you caused this. And you're like, why? How did I cause this? You can say, well, you was not giving me any sex, or you was not spending any quality time, or you were not making me feel good about myself and telling me great things about me, or something like that. And this is why I went to someone else. And they want to blame you and not take accountability for them being unfaithful. So that can be a problem if a person is not mature enough. And being an adult, because an adult takes responsibility. If they're not mature, no matter what their age is, does not have nothing to do with immaturity. So if the person is still immature and they're not able to take responsibility or willing to see the errors of their ways, it can be a problem. So you need to really consider having boundaries when your partner is not taking accountability. Also, the next one is accountability, getting your needs met. So when your partner doesn't meet your needs can be sexually, quality time, so for instance, if you're intimate with your partners and you're a sexual person and you're not really enjoying sex, and your partner's not really even wanting to learn different techniques that you like, because everybody, most people, if they're sexual, they know their body, they know what they like and what they don't like. And if your partner's not willing to make you feel good, or make you feel the way you want to feel sexually, or your partner's not really wanting to have sex, his libido or her libido is low and they're not wanting to have sex nearly as much as you do, that can be a problem because you're not compatible sexually. Either your partner's not willing to learn new techniques, or your partner's not willing to up their game, or maybe your partner's maybe overly sexual. You know what I mean? Where it's a little too much that you can't really be doing it 5 times a day or whatever. So that's a problem too if you're not compatible sexually, especially if you're not compatible when it comes to things we like. We have different tastes, things that we like. It's okay to have differences, but you have to have some commonality. If everything is different, then y'all won't have anything in common. So it's okay to have 50%, difference and 50% in common. So if we like watching TV or going to the movies or going dancing or going to parties or things that we like to do together, walking in the park, exercising, that's fine. But then one person like to do, say one person like to do rock climbing and the other person, prefer to sit in the park. That's fine. You don't really need to compromise and go rock climbing because you have enough commonality. So he or she can go rock climbing with other friends or family members that they do, or themselves. So having something in common is important, but you don't need to have everything in common. Okay. And people need to know that they don't have to be exact clones of each other. And also it's important that you spend quality time. So if your partner's not wanting to spend quality time and that's something important, that's something that's very important to you, then that's a boundary. You need to take some time to spend, to get to know your partner, to make your emotions grow. Spending time helps your emotions grow. To just have that partner near your side. And if that person needs that, and that's important to them, then that partner needs to really consider that. If not, that can be a boundary that you don't spend enough time. That person might work all the time and not have time for you. So that's important. That's important that the person would be able and want to spend quality time. Okay.
Yes, thank you. So next we are going to go back into what is the energy of the days of the week. And next it will be Tuesday and Wednesday. Would you mind starting off with Tuesday, please?
Sure. Okay. Oh, we already doing 3. Okay, so let me do that. Sorry. Tuesday feels like money. Money is important. That's a day where I feel like your finances is going to be something that you're going to be looking at very strongly. I feel like more independent spirit. So it feels like this person might be by themselves and or these people might be by themselves and their finances is something that they're looking at very strongly. It feels like it's building and they feel like they are really paying attention to their finances. So they're looking at it and saying, okay, I have a goal. I want to do something. So they're thinking about goals in mind, whether it's maybe buy a house, maybe buy a car, maybe go on trips, or I feel even maybe starting a family one day, getting married. I feel like they have a goal in mind and they're going to start really thinking about their finances and how they want to achieve their goals.
Thank you for that. And now Wednesday.
Okay. Okay, Wednesday seems like there's a male energy that it feels like you're going to be talking to, or you're talking to this male energy. He feels independent, he feels financially stable, but it feels like this male energy is having trust issues. I feel like he's going to be kind of having conversations with you, and it's going to be more like wanting to know what you're doing. He's having trust issues. He's thinking that he's thinking that you might be not being honest with him or authentic. He's afraid that you might, start talking to somebody else, so he's going to come in this with a lot of trust issues, So I feel like that's what I feel for Wednesday.
That was great. Thank you. So next we're going to go back into speaking about Elon Musk. So my question for you is, do you see Elon Musk and Twitter agreeing to a lower price and moving into settling?
Do I see them agreeing to what? Sorry?
Do you see Elon Musk and Twitter agreeing to a lower price and moving on to settling?
Okay, let me check. Okay. So Elon Musk is I'm not sure he wants to. It's almost like I feel like it might have to go to court. I feel legal actions around this, and I'm feeling like I feel like it's going to be a little fight. The energy feels like a fight. So I don't think that he's going to want to settle for less because he's going to feel like they haven't been really honest and truthful with them. So at this point right now, I feel like a fight in court. So it's going to be what the court is going to say. So right now, it feels like Elon Musk might have to pay a penalty at this point. That's what I feel. So I'm not sure he's going to agree to a lower amount and buy Twitter.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah, and this is also a very interesting. Can you repeat
I'm
that?
sorry. I was going to say that we can always look at this a little later on down the road once they're actually in court and stuff like that. If they
Mm-hmm.
do, and then I can see more of the outcome. But right now, it just feels like he might have to pay a penalty.
Okay. So this
Mhm.
question is very interesting. It is, will Elon Musk accomplish his goal of bringing private citizens to space and eventually open up Mars to human exploration?
Okay. All right, Elon Musk. Let me see. Well, the energy feels like he is definitely working on this. He's definitely wanting this to happen. I can feel he's working on it, but he's not sure if it's going to work. He would love to do this. This is almost like something that he's been thinking about for a long time, you know, almost like a fantasy, you know. So I feel like, yeah, he's been, this is like one of his goals, you know. So I feel like he's going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. This is very important to him. And I think he thinks money can do it. He really does think money can do it. But it just feels like I'm not really sure if he's going to achieve it, because the energy feels like it's going to take more than money. It's not going to be only money. It's going to take more than that. So to conquer, or whatever you want to call it, to colonize a new planet, it's going to take more than money. And I'm not sure Elon must have what it takes to do that, for people to live on Mars. So I'm going to say that at this point, he doesn't have everything he needs, and he's not going to have everything he needs. So I would go with no.
Okay, that was a very interesting question and answer. So thank you for answering that as well.
Oh, you're so
So
welcome.
next, we're going to move back into personal boundaries. And you are going to be discussing addictions and non negotiables.
Okay, addiction and non-negotiables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when it comes to boundaries, we have things that we don't allow to, we are not open to. So, like for instance, if somebody is addicted to drugs and this is not your scene, then it won't go well. You know, you're dealing with a drug addict and you're not a drug addict. It won't go very well, because if they're really bad, they could be using all their money. And especially if y'all commingling funds, it's not going to go well. And stealing the money and losing all the money, and you can't pay bills, that won't go well. They could be where they might be an alcoholic, and
Mm-hmm.
they come in drunk, and it could be violent. And it's not a conducive relationship, especially if you don't drink. If that person is having these addictions and you're not it, and you don't have these addictions, then it won't be a real compatible relationship. They can have sexual addictions. Maybe they're on the phone with these porno people or whatever these, and they constantly run up bills, because they have to pay per minute, or they're going out there sleeping with everybody constantly, or they're watching porno day and night, and then they don't really want to spend time or be intimate with you. So these addictions are very very, I could say, even abusive to the relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a form of abuse, because if you're not into that scene, then they could be, like I said, they could be very violent when it comes to drugs. They could be violent when it comes to alcohol, and it could be dangerous if they're out there sleeping with everybody and they're not protecting themselves. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like a form of abuse. So that might be your boundaries. Don't allow them to overstep your boundaries if that's not your scene.
Mm-hmm.
The other non-negotiable. You know, if you're in a relationship and your partner doesn't want to negotiate, it's their way or the highway. If they tell you that, you have to do X, Y, Z, and if you don't do it, they don't want to be with you. Or if you don't do it, then you're not the one for them, or you're not smart enough, or you're not whatever. It's non-negotiable if the person is saying to you that they want you, uh, they want you to like do something, like an example. Let me see what would be an example. Uh, oh, I got a good example. What if they're into something that you're not into? You know what I mean? Let's talk about the drugs, whatever. You have to do drugs if you want to be with them. And you're like, no, you don't do drugs. They're like non-negotiable. If you ain't gonna do drugs, you can't be with me. So that's something that's a boundary that you should not allow someone to, cross.
Mhm.
So a lot of things that people do, when it's non-negotiable, even, when you even have your own opinions, if you think that you could tell them like, I think that this is a good idea. And they don't even want to listen to your idea. They
Mhm.
dismiss your idea because what they feel is always right, and nobody's always right all the time, but they don't want to listen to your idea. They're not open to listening to you, so while you're in that relationship, it's like they're in a relationship by themselves because everything they're saying is right. They're not open to having any more ideas but what they know. They're limited. So that's what I mean by non-negotiable.
That is very interesting. Thank you.
Mhm.
So next, you're going to go back into the energy of the days of the week, and we will be discussing Thursday and Friday. Can you start with Thursday, please?
Sure. So Thursday it feels like the energy is that it feels like being taken for granted. It feels like a person that's always giving, 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 and then they're going to realize that when they give so much, the people are not, um, they're not respecting it, and on top of it, they're not appreciating it, and it feels like they're going to turn around and not give you back what you gave them, or even portion of what you gave them. They're not going to be open to, they're open to receiving, but they're not open to giving back. So you're going to realize that Thursday is going to be like the energy of feeling like you're taken for granted, feeling hurt, feeling like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep giving. So it's going to be an acknowledgement of the fact that you're being taken for granted. You can have that hurt feeling, but more than that, it's about you coming to terms with you're not going to allow this behavior anymore.
Okay, that was great. Thank you.
Mhm. And the next one is Friday, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Friday energy feels like being stuck, staying in one place. It could be stuck emotionally. It could be stuck where it comes to your career. It just feels like a person is stuck and they're staying there and they keep holding on. It could be in a relationship. You're staying in the same relationship, not moving forward. Just like if you're not, the person's not committing and you're still holding on to it, hoping that it'll change, but you keep holding on and holding on and holding on, and things are still remaining the same. It's not getting any better. It's just the same. So Friday is the energy of being stuck.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
So we are going to go back into Elon Musk. And my question for you is, down the road, will Elon Musk buy a bigger home?
Okay. Yeah, because right now I think he's in a tiny home. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so he's in a tiny home, and I heard that it was like cost about $50,000 or something, which is nothing for Elon Musk. Probably about $2 for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So will he buy a bigger home? Okay, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question though before I ask that. Why is he not buying it? Isn't there something about he gave away all his possessions and we talk about that? Is that correct?
So that would be our next question in regards to his
Oh,
possessions.
okay, so I think we need to ask that first and then we'll talk about a bigger
Okay,
home.
we can. Does selling his possessions have a lot to do with not being part of the elite and
Oh,
not wanting control of the world?
right. Okay. So I'm sorry to interrupt. I think that when we thought about the questions, what we need to do is add on this. We'll go back to the question. So Elon Musk had sold all his possessions, and he had sold several of his houses. I think 6 houses, 6 mansions or something, 6 or 7 mansions, and he bought a tiny home for $50,000. So
Mm-hmm.
now the question was, will he buy a bigger home down the road? So I'm going to ask that again. Okay. I
Okay.
forgot. We have to inform people who didn't know. All right. Hold on. Elon must buy a bigger home later on down the road. Okay. Okay. So Elon Musk look like he wants to have, it's like he is thinking that he needs to not have all these possessions. In his mind, he doesn't want all these possessions. He'd rather have the money. He doesn't want the possessions. It feels like he's going to really try hard. It's hard for him to give up his possessions because he's used to that, but he's going to try hard to not have so many possessions. It's going to be challenging for the women or woman that he's with, that he doesn't want possessions. I can feel that energy. They're going to think that something's wrong. People are going to view him as a fool. You got all that money. Why aren't you having matches in the sky and doing all this with your money and jewelry and this and fancy stuff? So he probably will keep his cars, and I heard that as well. So I know he's going to keep his cars to get around, things of that nature. But the possessions of houses and things, jewelry, all that other stuff, expensive clothes, he's going to let them go. And people are going to question, why would you do that? This is something that you worked hard for. You know, everybody wants possessions. But he's
Right.
thinking that the world, he's thinking that a man, he's thinking about the world and people in the world, they see possessions as status. He's thinking that that's not where he want to be. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about possessions to make him who he is. He's thinking about more of a higher level, like he said, he wants to go to Mars and colonize Mars and bring people there. He's thinking on a higher level, not on a level of possessions to make him who he is. So the answer right now is that no, I think he's going to try to get used to less possessions and don't buy a bigger home.
Wow, that was interesting. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next question is, does selling his possessions have a lot to do with not being part of the elite and not wanting control and of not wanting to control the world?
Okay. So the elite, the rich ones that
Mm-hmm.
out there, the billionaires that's trying to control the world, he
Mm-hmm.
is selling it has to do with he doesn't showing people that he's not part of that. Okay, let's see. I feel like indirectly, yes. I feel like one of it is definitely so he can be used to not having so many possessions, and then the woman who's with, again, she's going to have to accept the fact that he's not going to have material things, and that people usually judge you based on material things. And so he doesn't want to be judged based on that. He doesn't want people to put him in a box saying you're part of this group because you have all this stuff. He doesn't want that. He want to be separate from them, do something different than them, not think like them, be his own man. So yes, that's part of it, because he doesn't agree. He doesn't follow the elite, the 90%, the small percent of the people who run 90% of the world. He doesn't follow that. He doesn't want to. So yes, he want to be separate from them. He doesn't want to be where you're going to judge him based on them, part of their cult, so to speak. So yes, part of that selling his possession is to let people know he's not part of that group. He's not part of the Bill Gates and all them other people are. So, and that he can go without possessions, that it's not about conquering, owning the whole world, even though he wants to go to Mars, pretty much, conquer that area, but it's not here in the world, in this world, Earth, I guess we should say, that he wants to be part of that. He might want to be his own man, his own king on Mars, but not here, because it's already popular. It already has a lot of people already, and has these it has these small percentage that's controlling 90% of the world. So no, you're right. So yes, he doesn't want to be in the same boat as them. He wants to be separate from them. He doesn't want people to think that he's part of that whole group.
Wow, that's really interesting. He's an interesting person.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Yes. So we will be moving into our final two boundary topics, which is not financially compatible and taking you for granted. Would you mind starting off, please?
Yes, you said fine. What are they again?
Not financially compatible and taking you for granted.
Right. Okay. So not financially compatible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's actually the number one reason people get divorces and separate, is because of money. And if you're in a relationship and your partner is not good with money and you're good with money, that's a problem, because they're spending all the money that's coming in. And then y'all not able to pay bills or do the things that y'all want to do because the money is not there. Or your partner is taking money without even, confiding in you. They're not saying, hey, I'm going to take whatever, a couple of $1,000s to buy, or to go on, to go gamble or something like that. Yeah, if the person has a gambling habit, you know what I mean? They go and take your money and they go gamble at the casino, or they play the racetracks. That's a problem. If the person is, he or she likes to spend money on expensive clothes and they take all the money to go shopping, that's a problem. And they're not considering the bills and things of that nature. So financial compatibility is very important. And then there's a lot of people that that they can't get along financially. And that's really important. Like you run up your credit cards, you do all kinds of things that doesn't show that you are respecting your partner. So what I always say is that if there's one person in a relationship that's very good with money, give them control of the money. Let them have control of the money. So when you come home, you bring your paycheck. Maybe you take out whatever you need for yourself, and you bring your paycheck home and let them use that to pay off the bills and do what they got to do, put in the savings, because they're good with it. You don't let a person that's bad with money have control of the money. That doesn't make sense. No matter if it's a male or female, if they're not good with money, that's not their strong point. Whoever has a strong point, you should allow them to have control. So give them the reign. So if you're good with money, let that person have control of money, and then you'll have a better relationship, a long-lasting relationship. So it's important to be financially compatible. If you're not, there's a lot of divorces when it comes to finances. The other one is taking you for granted. So if you with a partner, it's just like we saw, what day was it? I think it was, I'm not sure, Thursday, when it saw the energy of that person taking you for granted.
Yes.
So it's important that you have a partner that appreciates you, that don't take you for granted. The unfortunate thing is that 90% of the people in the world takes you for granted. And you only got 10% that stays in a place of graciousness, you know? And what I mean by that is that say you in a relationship and your partner, you went through some real hard times, you lost your job, you with your partner, you're living and you lost your job, your partner got your back, don't complain, don't bother you, say you're not at work, you're out of work for 6 months. You know, they took care of all the bills, they make sure you have money, they make sure you're good, your partner was there for you 100%, right? And then maybe a year go down, you got a job now, and a year go, you know, and then now it's your turn, you're having a hard time financially, you lost your job, your partner don't have your back now, they complaining and they can't pay this and pay, but they forgot, you know, for the 6 months that you were taking care of them, they were gracious, you know, and then a year later when you is in that predicament, now they forgot that you were there for them. They're not appreciating the fact that you had their back. So now they're complaining or they don't want the relationship because you ain't got a job and you can't help them. You understand what I'm trying to say? They're taking you for granted. They're not being gracious for what you did for them. So when you have, and there's 90% of the people that does that, you know, they does that. They forget when time go by what you did for them. And they don't appreciate it. And when it's time for you need them, they're not there for you, you know? They're not there to help you out. Or they forget what you did for them. So when a partner takes you for granted, it's very hurtful. And then they also could not show you appreciation. They don't even say to you, hey, you look beautiful today. They just take it for granted that they don't need to tell you that anymore. You know, oh, you're so smart. They take it for granted. They don't even give you any compliments, you know. They don't really see the beauty of what they have because they've been in it for a little while. And so they don't acknowledge and recognize how beautiful that person is. You know, they just know it's there and they think it's always going to be there. And that's taken for granted.
Thank you. So that pretty much concludes everything that we needed to touch base on today. But do you have anything else you want to add about boundaries?
Yes. I would like to add that when we have boundaries, we have to really consider that our boundaries is what we have and what we normally stick to. But when you fall in love and you meet somebody, you kind of let your boundaries, you kind of lighten up on your boundaries a lot. You know, you might say, okay, you know, I'm in love now. Normally, when a person says they're going to do something, they don't do it, I'm done. But because I feel all these emotions, I'm going to give him another chance or her another chance. That's fine. And we understand that, but you can't keep doing it. In other words, even though you're in love and you have boundaries for a reason, there's a reason for your boundaries because this is an issue for you. This bothers you. So if that person is constantly not keeping their word, not being reliable, and they're doing this on more than 1 or 2 or 3 occasions, then you really need to look at, I need to go back to my boundaries. I need to pull away. I need to start thinking that even though I love this person, that this is a behavior that I know I will not be happy with long term. So I need to think about not moving forward in this relationship or continuing this relationship because you already see this person for who they are and they're not making changes. And you have already talked to them and told them how you feel and they still doing, he or she are still doing it. So again, when we have boundaries and we are in love, we kind of allow the person to overstep our boundaries, but you have to have a limit. You know, no matter how you feel, you have to have a limit because if you don't, you're going to find yourself unhappy in a relationship and probably eventually ending it anyway. It might be, you might deal with it for 5 months or 5 years, but eventually you're going to look back and say, hey, I knew this in the beginning. And if you really evaluate yourself in a situation, that person showed you this in the beginning, and you should have thought about getting out then. And now you're emotionally involved, and 5 years later, you might say, oh, wow, let me look back and see that, yeah, they haven't changed in 5 years. So boundaries are there for a reason. And even though we have all these feelings, we can consider giving some leeway, but you cannot totally ignore your boundaries.
Thank you for that. That was very interesting. And then also, do you have any closing remarks for anyone who's watching before you log off for the day?
No, I just want to thank you for watching. I appreciate y'all. We'll try to do this every Saturday at 2:00. So please join us. If you can like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Psychic4, FOUR, Lovers. Also, like I said, every Saturday we'll be on. It's great to come on and watch, and we have new tidbits for celebrities. We'll have different topics, and we'll discuss different areas of spiritual counseling. So please join us, and you'll have a blessed day.
Yes, and also your website is www.psychic4lovers.com.
Yes, it is.